Ratchet and Clank is a game about exploring different worlds and buying weapons to blow things up. However, inflation has gotten to this universe too, so we have to stick with the essentials to save the galaxy. Can you beat Ratchet and Clank PS4 with only the wrench? Rule number 1 is that I can't use the wrench. There is no rule 2. We will know that this challenge has been 100% completed because our weapons won't have a single point of XP on New Game Plus. This level is the tutorial, so we are only getting to grips with how we will be playing. Ratchet can do a 3-hit ground combo, a ground pound attack called the Hyper Strike, which deals double damage, and a throw. That's the full moveset. We make it past these toad things to the obstacle course, and we are immediately in serious trouble. We need to get past 3 breakable walls, and there is no way around them. Now, there is a way to glitch out of bounds to just skip this entire thing, but we need to be on New Game Plus, which means we would have to blow up these walls with a weapon anyway. That means that we have to use a weapon to destroy these walls, but don't click off the video yet, because other than one more time, we don't use weapons anymore. And to be fair, we don't use them on a single enemy. Wait, what are you doing? We then fight through the arena. We need to make sure that we don't press R2 or circle by mistake and fire the weapon. After a Clank section that plays just like normal, we are back as Ratchet. This is the last time we use the weapons because we simply can't reach the button. And even if we could, we definitely could not reach the second one without dying. But the weapons are never being used again and they still have 0 XP. We are then forced into beating this dropship. We wait for an opening and hit it with wrench throws. After, we beat a few enemies outside the garage. Strafing is very important for this challenge, so it's important that we get the skill mastered now. We should also try not to go back on ourselves while strafing if we can. Novalis is a very open level, so we need to keep an eye out for enemies trying to get behind us. While running away from everything is a valid strategy, you can get a higher max HP by defeating enemies. And we will need that HP for the bosses, so I tried defeating every enemy anyway. We need to focus on the artillery-like guys. They are fast and have deceptively long range. At the end of the first round, lots of enemies will spawn in, but just focus on each one individually and you should be fine. We also do the second round of the level, which is pretty easy, wrench only. The cool thing about this game is that we can actually choose which level we go to next, but we still do need to go to and finish all of them. We first beat all the Sandsharks for Skid. This is pretty easy, just do wrench combos and hyper strikes against them, and we're fine. Most of this level is honestly pretty easy. The only thing we really need to talk about is when we find the agent, we need to strafe and wrench throw at the helicopter. Jumping ahead, we go through the sewers, which don't really have any enemies, so we can just run past what little there are. We then get the trespasser, which will allow us to open locked doors. We then go through the second path, which is more combat focused. We want to fight the amoeboids and soldiers with the wrench throws. Tanks are pretty difficult as their shot will have a wide hitbox, but we use hyper strikes and wrench throws to beat them. We keep going through until we reach the maze. We need to defeat the enemies in each box before we open up the next. There's another 2 tanks at the end, but use throws and hyper strikes, we can beat these ones like we beat the other one just shortly ago. We finished the race, and now we are finished with the level. We can blast through Cur 1 really quickly. We use wrench throws to beat the bigger blog, while the smaller blog go down with just a single throw. We then get the helipack and can do the high jump and long jump. Then onto the train, which is also pretty easy, up to the 3 helicopters. We need to focus on one individually, dodging up and down the train to avoid the bullets of the other one. We then go on to the obstacle course, and the good captain gives us a new spaceship. Really quick, the Clank section goes as normal. The main path of the Blarg Tactical Research Station is alright up until this room. We need to take out the small frogs and then take out the big lizards with wrench throws. We then get to the boss fight, and this guy is an endurance round, and I mean really an endurance round. Now the strat I came up with was wrench throws between his big attacks. We need to dodge his clap attack by jumping back and to the right or left. At 65, he will charge and spawn in a lot of frogs, which we do need to beat quickly and before focusing on the boss again. When he breathes fire, we run away and he will politely stop and just walk up to us. At 32%, he will spawn more frogs and also some lizards. Again, we need to defeat these quickly and before focusing on the boss. Just make sure you stay patient and make sure you don't die, because did I mention that this takes a really long time? We end up finishing the boss, and then immediately afterwards I get a card for double wrench damage. That would have been helpful literally a few seconds ago. This is a pretty basic level, just focus on each enemy individually. We do reach near the end of the first path, an area with loads of enemies, but here comes the insane strats. If we have access to a weapon vendor, we can actually buy health refills. This does mean that we do need to keep running back and forth, but we're all good. We then get the grind boots and unlock the open area. First we need to collect 10 brains, but we don't actually need to defeat any of the big enemies, so we're fine again. After we have 10 brains, we unlock the jetpack and collect a few more to continue with story progression. Battalia is quite a difficulty spike. It introduces tanks again, which we can handle again pretty easily just through strafing. But also these bomber guys, we need to do wrench throws if there is more than one, because the other guys can combo you incredibly easily. However, we can quite easily keep running back to the vendor, so it is doable, it's just long and time consuming. Now, this level hosts a boss fight, which looked insanely difficult, so instead, we're just going to skip over it. How? Allow me to teach you some speedrun tech. If we hit with the wrench and immediately press R1, we can do something called a wrench cancel high jump. The timing is difficult, so do a little bit of practice. We high jump onto this ledge and do a wrench cancel high jump onto this pipe. We high jump onto the next pipe and travel along those pipes and do a long jump at the edge of those pipes onto the floor. Welcome to Out of Bounds. Walk along this really long stretch of path until you reach the lamp with 4 more lamps in front of it. Line up something like this, do a long jump and hold forward into the abyss. Once we pass the green skybox, we have travelled past the death plane and we can glide towards the white box. Once we reach it, do 2 long jumps, a wrench cancel jump and a wrench cancel high jump, and mash triangle. If you have activated the trespasser, we have finished the entire level, skipping the boss and everything else in it. Pokotaru was pretty alright until the final bit where we can't access a vendor and we have to defeat 2 of the octopus things. We just need to make sure to strafe well and above all else not to retrace our steps. Do that and you should be all good. We open up this level with our good captain trying to appease the dictator.
See if we can talk this out, mano a mano.
He's blown up 5 planets already.
I'm going in.
Captain, wait! Look at the way we should...
We don't have Clank for the majority of this level, so we can't pull off any of those cool moves we have been. For encounters, always beat the smaller enemies first, and then move on to the bigger ones. Luckily for us, there is a lot of health in these arenas, and there are a lot of checkpoints in this level. We need to be careful of the flying warbots. Not only do they attack quickly, but wrench throws can often clip them into walls where they do remain unbeatable with the wrench. There is a room near the end with several tanks and warbots. Instead of focusing on the small enemies like we have been doing, we need to instead focus on taking out the tanks ASAP, as they can kill us in only a few hits and they shoot very, very fast. We can also try and take cover behind the boxes to try and single out the enemies a little bit. Go slow in this area and try not to take damage. Once the final door is open, just try and book it, even if there are enemies still. After all that, the shocking truth is revealed.
Qwark? This is awkward.
The bad guys proceed to blow up a planet with the help of Captain Qwark, and he shows deep remorse about these actions.
Not my coolest moment, okay? I was confused. I thought I was doing the best thing for the galaxy.
Kalibo is another pretty easy one with nothing of much to say about it other than the last area where we have to defeat loads of enemies and an arena thing. Instead of even trying the enemies before the arena, we book to the challenge and use the thruster pack long jumps paired with hyper strikes. So long as you are fast to do another long jump to the other side of the arena, you shouldn't get hit, but the timing of this is very finicky. The first half of this revisit is pretty easy as we walk around as Captain Qwark.
Hello, Captain Qwark. You look very heroic today. Chiseled abs detected.
Now, a lot of this is similar to the first visit, but with a few more warbots in each encounter. At the first big fight, the doors in which the enemies will come out will actually be lit up, so don't worry about the other doors that aren't lit up. There won't be anything that comes out of those, trust me. Another really helpful thing that I noticed was that only one enemy at a time will run for that insta-kill button, and it will be obvious which one. So if we focus on that one, we can then switch to the next target that's going for it, beat them, and so on. The rest of this area is just difficult fight after difficult fight. Just take your time and do not take big risks. One spot I will take note of is the final room before the boss fight. We need to take out the bombers in the top left ledge, and after that, take cover behind the wall and defeat the robot dogs that come after us. After that, we take out the blog and then the warbots. If we're fast with the warbots, we can actually knock them off the bridge in the middle, killing them instantly. We then get a checkpoint and defeat a dropship. We now move on to defeating Nefarious, but before that happens...
Greetings, cadet.
That's right, we must defeat our beloved captain. Now, Qwark is actually pretty easy, he just takes a while. An easy way to get hits in is wait until he starts posing and hitting him with hyper strikes. He has a shockwave attack and a basic combustor single shot kind of attack. We need to do throws mostly, as he will actually kick us if we try to go for hyper strikes while he's not posing. You'll know you switched phases when he throws out a Groovatron, which we blow up by spinning into. Repeat this a few more times, with him adding new moves like summoning minions and shooting rockets, and eventually we beat him. Now for the actual final boss, Nefarious. This easily took me an hour and a half on my successful run. I found that the best time to attack was when he was either doing nothing or using his laser attack. After you attack, he will do a shockwave type attack. The best way to dodge this is by pulling back and letting go of L1. The game is very merciful and respawns the health pickups, but it does take a long time before they actually respawn. After a while, he will begin regaining health, and then he will fall onto one of the 4 platforms. When he falls onto these, you need to do hyper strikes, as many as you can, to try to get that health back down to where it was originally. After that, he will destroy that platform permanently, and warbots will spawn on all the others that remain. He will also begin to throw mines down that will suck you in onto these platforms, so we need to make sure we destroy these ASAP too. I don't really have any tips other than be very careful, because this just takes a really long time. We finish the game and allow the same man that destroyed a planet out of jail. Here is the New Game Plus to prove that we didn't use our weapons. With all that, the challenge is over.